Do you know what happens when you neglect even one of God's commandments? Today, I'll break down the 10 commandments, their meaning, their importance, and the dangers of ignoring them. These are not just rules, but God's eternal guide for life. The 10 Commandments. 1. You shall have no other gods before me. Worship God alone. 2. You shall not make for yourself a graven image, no idols, no false gods. 3. You shall not take the name of the Lord in vain. Honor God's holy name. 4. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy, set time apart for God. 5. Honor your father and your mother. Respect and care for your parents. 6. You shall not kill. Life is sacred. Do not take it unjustly. 7. You shall not commit adultery. Be faithful in marriage and pure in heart. 8. You shall not steal. Respect what belongs to others. 9. You shall not bear false witness. Speak truth, not lies or slander. 10. You shall not covet. Be content. Avoid envy and greed. The 10 Commandments in detail with examples. 1. You shall have no other gods before me. Explanation. God must be first in every area of life: worship, decisions, ambitions, and desires. Anything placed above God becomes an idol, even if it is not a statue. Examples. A person who puts money, career, or fame above God. Someone who relies on charms or witchcraft for protection instead of trusting God. Importance. Keeps our hearts loyal to God and prevents us from being slaves to worldly things. Neglect. Leads to idolatry, false worship, and eternal separation from God. Think of the Israelites who worshiped the golden calf, Exodus 32. 2. You shall not make for yourself a graven image. Explanation. Worship must be directed to God, not to objects or images. God is spirit, and those who worship him must do so in spirit and truth. John 4 verse 24. Examples. Bowing to statues or objects, thinking they carry divine power. Trusting talismans or symbols for blessings instead of God. Importance. Keeps our worship pure, focused only on the Creator. Neglect. Brings superstition, deception, and false religion. For instance, King Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue, Daniel 3, led people into false worship. 3. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Explanation. God's name is holy and must not be used carelessly, in jokes, curses, or false oaths. Examples. Saying, I swear in God's name when lying. Using, oh my God casually or disrespectfully. Importance. Shows reverence to God and strengthens the seriousness of our faith. Neglect. Diminishes respect for God and leads to dishonesty. Jesus warned against swearing falsely, Matthew 5 verses 34 to 37. 4. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. Explanation. God set aside one day of the week for rest and worship. For Christians, Sunday is set apart for worship in honor of Jesus' resurrection. Examples. Attending church regularly, praying, and dedicating time to family and rest. Avoiding turning every day into endless work without spiritual focus. Importance. Provides balance, rest, and time to reconnect with God. Neglect. Leads to burnout, greed, and spiritual dryness. For example, Israel was punished for neglecting the Sabbath, Jeremiah 17 verse 27. 5. Honor your father and your mother. Explanation. Respect and care for parents is both a duty and a blessing. It includes obedience while young and support when they are old. Examples. A child obeying and respecting parents. An adult caring for elderly parents. Importance. Builds strong families and is the first commandment with a promise of long life and blessing. Ephesians 6 verses 1 to 3. Neglect. Leads to family conflict, generational curses, and dishonor. The prodigal son, Luke 15, is a warning of dishonor, though he later repented. 6. You shall not kill. Explanation. Life is sacred because humans are made in God's image. This command forbids murder, but Jesus expanded it to hatred and anger. Matthew 5 verses 21 to 22. Examples. Murder, abortion, violence, or hatred toward others. Speaking words of anger that destroy instead of build. Importance. Protects life and promotes peace in society. Neglect. leads to violence, revenge, war, and loss of God's blessings. Cain killing Abel, Genesis 4, shows the destructive power of unchecked anger. 7. You shall not commit adultery. Explanation. Marriage is a holy covenant. Adultery breaks trust and destroys purity. Jesus extended this to lust in the heart. Matthew 5 verses 27 to 28. Examples. A married person cheating on their spouse, engaging in pornography or secret affairs. Importance. Preserves family, marriage, and society's moral fabric. Neglect. Leads to broken homes, divorce, sexually transmitted diseases, and emotional trauma. King David's affair with Bathsheba, 2 Samuel 11, brought serious consequences. 8. You shall not steal. Explanation. Taking anything that isn't yours, money, property, time, or credit, violates God's law. Examples. Stealing from an employer by being lazy at work. Copying in exams or cheating in business. Importance. Builds honesty, trust, and justice in society. Neglect. Leads to corruption, poverty, imprisonment, and loss of God's blessing. Judas Iscariot stole from the money bag and ended in destruction. John 12 verse 6. 9. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Explanation. Truth matters to God. This command forbids lying, gossiping, slandering, or giving false testimony. Examples. A lying in court to harm someone. Spreading false rumors in school, workplace, or church. Importance. Protects truth, justice, and peace. Neglect. Brings broken trust, injustice, and God's judgment. Ananias and Sapphira lied to the apostles and died. Acts 5 verses 1 to 11. 10. You shall not covet. Explanation. Coveting is an unhealthy desire for what belongs to others. It begins in the heart and can lead to other sins like theft or adultery. Examples. Envying a neighbor's house, car, or marriage. Always comparing your life to others instead of being grateful. Importance. Teaches contentment, gratitude, and reliance on God's provision. Neglect. Leads to greed, jealousy, bitterness, and destructive behavior. Ahab coveted Naboth's vineyard and ended up committing murder. 1 Kings 21. Sparkle's final note. The 10 Commandments are not just old rules. They are timeless principles for living a godly life. The first 4 show us how to love God, and the last 6 show us how to love people. Jesus summed them up in 2 great commandments. Love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew 22 verses 37 to 39.